Aye, boom. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make more advanced drills, drum patterns in greater detail. As I see loads of comments from people saying, yo, go in depth with some drum patterns. So today I'm going to try my best. Should probably sound something like this. But before we get into it, then if you could please drop a like on this video. This is a huge goal. But whenever this video does get 1,000 likes, I will do an in-depth tutorial on just 808s. That means mixing, patterns, everything to do with drill 808s. And if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button for new content every Tuesday and Friday. Alright, a couple of things to address before we get into the video. First, my new loop kit, Divinity, is out right now and it's completely free. So head over to my Instagram page and go grab that. It's literally free. You've no reason not to get it. The loops are sick. You've heard some of them on YouTube. Secondly, my return to Twitch is finally here. I'm going to be doing some kind of like beat review, hopefully with some special guests. So set a reminder on your phone. This Thursday, 29th September, 6 p.m. GMT, London time zone, twitch.tv/SlipperyHaze. All right, let's get into the video. So if your beats are sounding somewhat like this, or you just need a bit of inspiration, then this is the video for you. I'm going to go into as much detail as I can and try to explain things as best as I can. First off, we're going to grab a loop. This loop is from my new loop kit that dropped today. This is the loop that we're working with. So let's just start off with the heart of every drill beat, the counter snare pattern. But before you start putting in drill drums, make sure you have the correct sound selection to do so. Good thing I have this VALHALLA drum kit right over here, which is out now. So we're going to be using all the drums from the VALHALLA drum kit. Link in the description to go purchase. So I'm going to show like 2 examples of some counter snare hi-hat patterns for drill. It's going to be the first example, and this is kind of like my regular method in what I do for most of my drill beats. So as everyone in the world knows, this is the iconic drill hi-hat counter snare pattern. This is sometimes too basic and we want to try expand on this. Even though there is hella songs that literally have this exact MIDI right in front of me. First things first, what we want to do is we want to remove some of these notes. So we want to have this pattern here, but we want to take out some of the notes and let the actual counter snare breathe a little bit. And honestly, I think we might just loop that over like that. Except on the 8th bar, we're going to put back in the note here. So now that we have established like the main counter snare pattern, this is going to be our heart of the beat. This is where everything's going to stem from. What I like to do is layer some counter snare notes on top of these notes. So we're going to grab another counter snare. And now there's no exact correct answer as to where to put these counter snares. Kind of use your ear and kind of hear where they should fit in. So I think somewhere here at the end of the second bar. Now we want to repeat this, but you don't want to repeat it so it's like every 2 bars like so, because that way it's going to be way too repetitive in the beat. So we just want to repeat it every 4. So we want to skip that part and then we want to repeat it here as well. Grab one more counter snare and we're going to layer at the start. So the first 3 notes here. But to make this blend a little bit better, we're going to go into the graph editor. I'm going to hold down on right click and we're just going to drag down. Something like that, copy and paste. Alright, next step. This is where I tend to kind of get my rapid bounce in the beat. For these, I like to choose like a light counter snare, which kind of sounds like a hi-hat. And basically for this pattern, we want to be creating a bounce in between the notes that we already see here. To do this, I like to come into my piano roll, I like to come to the magnet up here, and I like to click a quarter beat. Honestly, you could start placing notes anywhere in this quarter beat and it'll probably sound decent. One thing that is important is towards the end of the 4th and towards the end of the 8th bar, this is where you want to place your most notes to kind of create the most movement. This can kind of be just trial and error of placing notes to see what fits best. And then again, for this 8 bar, I just like to place a note basically on every other note that's not a gray. So except for like these notes, I'm going to place a note in between all of these. Something like that. And you kind of want to just adjust some velocities. Also, we're going to pan it at the very end. I like to come back up to the magnet and click a 6th step. And then for this, I like to just chop up some of these notes. So to chop up the notes, I like to press Control and U. And then I also like to like repitch them to like a higher note. So maybe like, let's try this one. Last but not least, on all these notes, you want to highlight them. You want to come up here to randomize and then randomize the panning. And now finally, this is what the pattern sounds like. And lastly, I want to emphasize the end of the 8-bar a little bit more. So we're taking a heavier kind of counter snare, and we're literally just going to layer the note on the last 4 hits of the main counter snare. Let me make one more example of another counter snare pattern that I could do if I'm just using one counter snare on its own. So no layering, just one counter snare. We're going to take a nice high-ended kind of counter snare, and for this, yet again, we're just going to fill in the standard drill bounce, and then within this, we're going to be placing a lot of notes in between the main bounce. As you can see, it's literally all about velocity. You can also choose to fill it in on the piano roll, again, on a quarter beat. This is gonna be it. This is just me getting kind of the bass of it down. Next, what I like to do is kind of drop some of these notes to like lower notes. So let's try put this down to like F. A bit of a bounce around the lower notes as well. These hats are sounding a little bit dry on their own, so I have just added a slight bit of reverb to them. Something else that I like to do is actually turn some of these ghost notes into rolls. I'm going to come back up to the magnet. I'm going to go into 6th set. I'm going to press Control and U, slice it, and then maybe drag it like this as well. So it goes... I've just manually panned some of the notes left and right as well, but this is basically it. And one last thing, one little bit of sauce that I want to show you too. If you're really going for this kind of glitchy styled kind of hi-hat on its own, I would definitely suggest using Phase Mistress. It's in the name. It's some kind of like phase shifter. There is so many different presets that you can use with this. You can mess around with it and get some mad sounds for your hi-hats, but this is the one that I've chose. I have the mix turned down. If I turn the mix up, but yeah, these are different kind of ways to spice up your hi-hats in drill. I'm going to show you how to kind of create a bit of a better bounce with some perks, with your snares, your kicks, your 808s, all of that. So in my head already, I kind of hear a bit of a perk loop that's just going to be looping on every red, the first of every red, like so. But that's a little bit too loud, so what we're going to do is we're going to decrease the velocity like so. So it kind of sounds like there's some kind of perk loop always running in the background of your beat. You can just kind of do that. I always envelope my perks like this, so like I just did, you can kind of create that sound where you don't have to hold them. You don't have to hold them down exactly. One thing that some people don't do enough is actually like lowering the velocity of your kick to kind of create like a nicer kind of bounce with it. Like I said, if somehow this video blows up and we get 1k likes, I'll do a full in-depth tutorial around drill 808s. That means the mixing, the patterns, everything, the placement of 808s, everything about 808s. Ooh, damn, I just put the 2 patterns together. I didn't even mean to do that. If you're still trying to spice up your drum patterns even more, then I'd just say go buy the Redemption Drumfill kit, where you can get 50 drum fills at the end of your 8 bars, so you don't have to do all this work yourself, and then you can get something that sounds a little bit like this. Or something that sounds like this. Like I said, all the drums from this video have come from my Valhalla drum kit. If you haven't got it yet, I don't know what you're doing, because everybody that has it has told me favorite drill kit. I tried explaining myself as best as possible. I hope you have learned some kind of technique from this video, or even if you just got inspired to go make a drill beat right now, I don't know. But yeah, put me up at Instagram and Twitch, especially Twitch this Thursday. I'm back, baby. So they're the only things to care about. I'm out. Looks like a bow.